CJ, I'm looking at a bunch of stuff, but just burst in if something happens.
Yeah.
Will do.
CJ, you could be like Adam Silver and burst in with each pick.
That'll add a lot to the program, I bet.
I'll probably say it as I'm talking because I'm looking at it. But if I happen to not see it, then do it.
Well, there's certainly people watching. That's going up a lot faster than it normally does. Mike, I was telling CJ, it's been 100 degrees in Philly for the last 4 days or whatever, and the side of the house that my office is on is a separate AC than the rest of the house, and I haven't been in here since Saturday. So I walked into the office, and it was as if it's like 100 degrees in here. So I'm not wearing pants.
There you go.
I took my jeans off.
I've done so many podcasts in boxers.
In really? I'm just in my underwear.
Yeah.
I feel, I don't know. I feel like a little dirty and a little sexy.
I do my best podcasting just
in your underwear,
just in the briefs.
Yeah, I like it. Have you ever gone like regular briefs?
Like boxer briefs?
No, yeah. I mean like regular briefs. Like when was the last time you wore like regular briefs?
Like tidy whities, you're saying?
Well, I mean not white ones, but yes, that style of brief.
I mean, they're 28 years. I don't know. A long time.
Yeah.
Probably when I was
I went through a phase.
The last time someone could have wedged me for it, I guess.
I went through a phase probably early 30s. Not white ones, but like,
What color?
The same brand. Well, I usually get these Calvin Klein like trunks. They're like boxer briefs, but like a little bit shorter because I don't like how long boxer briefs are. So I just got whatever the style that I get of these, or like the same ones. I just got like brief ones. But Val did not like it at all, so it didn't last very long.
Blazers just took Yang, who was supposed to be, I'm sure I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but is supposed to be taken in like the late first, maybe even early second. I saw mostly early second. Yang at 16. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. That's a bizarre pick. And they also have plenty of centers. Draft's crazy. I love draft. Jesus Christ.
Here we go. Hey, on the show today, the NBA draft, the Sixers had the third pick, select VJ Edgecombe. And as of this recording, they are keeping VJ Edgecombe. If something else happens during the pod, we'll, of course, talk about it. But as of now, the Sixers take VJ Edgecombe and they keep him. And that's about it. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rest of the draft. Also, the other moves in the NBA today or over the llast couple of days. And Daryl Morey did his press conference right around the 10th or 11th pick, but did give an update on Joel Embiid that, I don't know, wasn't quite as enthusiastic as I had hoped. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Ethos Support. Your customer support should not suck. Ethos Support can fix it. Go to ethosupport.com/Ricky or call or text Blair at 240-593-2485. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process, 302-864-8643. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter, and if not, pick will convey as to second rounders. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. Actually, I have water tonight. It's so hot in my office that I should have brought a Surfside. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to cool down. I love when the can has the condensation on the outside of it. Surfside, only 100 calories, only 2 grams of sugar, no bubbles, no carbonation, and the perfect amount of sweetness. If you are going to drink a canned cocktail, this one's got real stateside vodka in there. None of that bullshit that a lot of the companies put in their canned cocktails. This is real vodka from stateside, and whatever flavor you like. Iced tea and vodka, green tea, raspberry tea, peach tea, whatever it is. Get it wherever you get canned cocktails, or go to drinksurfside.com. Got to be 21, and please enjoy it responsibly. Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right.
Welcome to the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is almost the sixth Knipple brother. That is Mike Levin.
Here we go. The draft. They took somebody. We did it. Horrible season. But we
Is it
end with
officially
someone.
over now?
Season officially ends.
All right.
I'm still like I'm uncertain that it's done. Daryl has done a press conference. They took VJ Edgecombe, whose first name is Valdez. Just to be clear, his name is Valdez Edgecombe Jr., which is a sick ass name.
Well, what's the J for?
Junior.
So it's Valdez Jr. Edgecombe?
People that go by Junior usually to go like JJ. JJ is like John, John F. Kennedy. People do that stuff. I'm sorry, not John F. Kennedy, but like plenty of people do like JJ. JJ, BJ, there's other juniors. There's a lot of those.
Wait a minute.
There's a lot of those.
Okay, just to be clear.
But I did list one that wasn't. My first one I thought of was one that wasn't. So that's clear.
I've never heard of the second J being for Junior.
Totally, a ton of those. But it's not important.
Okay.
Because we got VJ Edgecombe. They draft the guy. Let's do it. Played 1 year at Baylor from the Bahamas. Sort of like Buddy Hield is his mentor, which is cool.
Is it?
Hardworking kid.
It's fine, I guess.
He's a 2 guard. He's 6'5" with like a 6'7.5" wingspan, which is maybe a little shorter than you'd want wingspan wise, but just a crazy nuclear athlete, fluid, hard worker, a crazy motor on defense. Like is going to step in like right away and be a positive two-way player. The question becomes, what is his value in the half court? He is if you look at like the past few years, both college and prep, he was a good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. A relatively average handle that if he's going to actually achieve, stardom, he's going to have to improve his handle a lot. He's going to have to improve his like pull-up jump shooting, but he's definitely not a bad shooter, and he's definitely not like, I think he's a better ball handler than Ace Bailey by a lot.
By the way, for a guy, I think what ends up happening is like all of these guys become a caricature of their pluses and minuses the way that everybody talks about them. And the way that people talk about VJ Edgecombe's handle, when you watch him, you would expect him to be a lot worse than he actually is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like for a guy this athletic with this high of a motor that is also like this mature and a good teammates like universally love him, for him to have as good of a feel for the game. Usually it's like, oh, he's a nuclear athlete, but like he can't like stand up. He doesn't know how to move without falling down. Or he doesn't know how to shoot and it's like a busted jumper. He is like a very complete player if you're looking for a very good normal basketball player. My question this whole time has been, do you see star potential in him? In the half court, in transition, he's going to be a demon. He's going to get out in transition. He's going to throw down sick dunks. Dunking is back. We're allowed to dunk again. We're allowed to say Merry Dunkmas again. It's very exciting for me as a guy who loves dunks. And he's going to compete on the defensive end. He's going to be able to switch. Again, you wish he was a little bit longer to be able to be like, okay, could he get into that like 6'10 wingspan, 6'11, like start to get crazy there? But good instincts and physical and just tries really hard. That matters. The question about the star upside is he going to be able to handle in like tight spaces? Is he going to be able to create for others? Right now, he's very like offensively in the half court. He's kind of a role player. And so, but because he's a hard worker, because he's a good kid, because he really wants it and he gives a shit, maybe you buy the high end of his potential and you can start to see like, there's Victor Oladipo comps. There's like, Dwayne Wade prospect comps, not obviously the guy that Dwayne Wade became, but as a prospect. Drew Holiday comps, like those kinds of guys that are like, okay, they made their bones defensively early, they're athletes early, but over time they developed into becoming really good offensive players, and it's not, there's more evidence of guys like Chris Dunn not doing that. But I think because he's at least going to be an average shooter, I think he's going to be like an above average NBA player, almost guaranteed. I think he's one of the highest floor players they could have taken here. If not, I think probably the highest floor player. Because he's not going to get played off the floor on either end. But I think so. I think so because of the defense, yeah, and the athleticism. But I think a little, maybe a shade lower realistic ceiling because of the lack of jump shooting and like manipulating the defense kind of thing.
So a couple things on him. One, I thought Daryl's quotes about him, one in particular I thought was interesting in that he said that like it's very important for when you draft a player who has things that he is not good at yet, for him to be aware of the things he is not good at yet.
Totally.
And he said VJ Edgecombe is very aware of the things he's not good at yet. One of those things being like shooting off the dribble. He brought up Eric Gordon, who was not really good at that early in his career, and talked to him about that and talked to him about Edgecombe and that. But he said that he struck him as, you said mature there, struck him as mature and very aware of what his deficiencies are. And when we talk about like ceilings and where they are now, there's so much of it is mysterious. So much of it is like a guess, right? And so much of it is situational and whether they reach it or don't reach it or how good they get. But I do think their commitment to drafting players who seem committed to working hard and getting better is a trend, right? Like, and for, it's interesting too, for a guy like Morey, who I think you would guess your gut would be like, well, he doesn't really care about that stuff. He just like cares about talent and all those sorts of things. I think the drafting would probably tell you otherwise. And historically, a lot of the players that he has chosen would tell you otherwise, that he doesn't value that sort of thing. I think he does.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, I think if there was a guy, if Ace Bailey was the guy that Ace Bailey thought he was, he would have taken Ace Bailey here. But he's not. He's just not good enough to be acting the way he's acting. He didn't have the handle to get anywhere he wanted on the court. And he didn't have the thing you mentioned before, which is like the awareness that of the stuff he's not good at. And so if you're going to go, okay, this draft does not have a third star that is like readily identifiable at this spot, I would have liked them to trade down. I think they could have. You look at some of these two other trades that happened during the first round, and they're like one of them is crazy.
Which one?
Portland trading up with the Hawks, trading up from 23 to 13, 10 spots, but in the middle of a first round of a pretty flat draft. They trade up 10 spots to take Derek Queen, who is dropping a little bit, fine. But they trade up their pick 23 and an unprotected 2026 first, which is either theirs, the better version, the best one of theirs, the Pelicans, or the Bucks. But teams that are potentially like high lottery teams. Like that is a crazy thing for Joe Dumars to do in his return to the league. And it makes me go, what? There was reports before the draft of, Daryl's offers were ridiculous. His asks were insane. And if he thinks VJ Edgecombe is a superstar, then like absolutely the offer should be insane, or the request should be insane. But that's a big piece for 10 spots in the middle of a first round of an average draft. And I would have liked to see what the offers actually were.
Yeah, actually, I have a thought on that in a second. Rice Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Ethos Support. Ethos Support, quite simply, is a company that is going to put together a customer support team for your company, right? Like either maybe your company is huge and you don't have the time or wherewithal to do it, or maybe your company is too small to do it. You think, I can't have my own customer support staff. That's what Ethos is going to do. Another thing about Ethos Support, there's no contracts, and they can put this customer support team together for you in 2 weeks is what they can do it in. Whether it's chat, email, on the phone, whatever it is, they can do it for you. Social, they can do that as well. A couple of times, I actually heard an ad for another company that is advertising putting together an AI customer support thing for you. Do you know how annoying it is to call up? This is what Ethos can do. I want you to think about all the times that you've called for customer support and all you're trying to do is get to a person. How many times do you have to say agent, 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 real person, real person, real person, real person? And every time they have to do it and get frustrated by it, they like your company a little bit less. And if they can get to a person even quicker, whether it's a quick email back, whether it's on the phone, they're going to like your company more. And if your company doesn't stand up to that test of being able to get to somebody when they want to, when they need you, then you do not have customer support that is good enough. If you want it, Ethos can help you. good customer support trained for your company specifically. Go to ethossupport.com/Ricky. That is ethossupport.com/Ricky. You can schedule a call with them or just call or text Blair, who runs the whole company, 240-593-2485 with Brandon, but Blair is the phone number, 240-593-2485. Make your customer support so good that people like your company even better. And if it's not that good, then it's not good enough. Again, ethossupport.com/Ricky or call or text Blair 240-593-2485. I think fair to mention that there weren't any trade ups in the top 8 or whatever. Like we to trade.
The first trade up was to 11, 16 to 11. The Blazers trade. The Grizzlies trade a future first and 2 seconds to move up from 16 to 11, which is 5 spots, which is also, I think, pretty steep. I like Cedric Howard. I think those are 2 good players to trade up for, but that's a serious price, and I do wonder like what those offers would have been to move down to 6 or 7.
Right, but those teams like sat there, like they didn't trade with anybody to get up there. I just like I think. We had talked before about how we can rate all of the guys from 3 to 8 or whatever the same, but we do think every team has their hierarchy and might love somebody.
Of course,
maybe a lot of the stuff we heard about Brooklyn wanting to move up. They certainly have the ammo to do it. Brooklyn does. We heard about Washington wanting to move up, and none of those teams moved up. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll never know what the offers were. No. Next time Daryl's on the pod, maybe we'll try to, berate him into telling us. But I would love to get something and also move back. But I don't want to do it for nothing, especially if to them there's a significant difference between who they're going to get at 3 and who they're going to get at 7.
I mean, of course. It just makes me think like I'm surprised by, in a draft that everyone's like, everybody likes everybody the same. There's not that much there. People might not give you anything for it. People like scoffing at the idea that bad organizations or organizations that are not playoff bound, like New Orleans with Herb Jones, like Portland with Toumani Camara, like, of course those teams would never trade them to move up to like several spots into the high lottery. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. It's like, if you believe in somebody, maybe they don't believe in anybody, which is fine. But I always thought it was ridiculous. Like, you're not going to trade you're not going to move a role player when you're like not a playoff team to draft someone that you think is a franchise guy.
Unless they don't think anybody's a franchise.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it seemed bizarre to me that they're moving up for, significant draft capital in the future to draft guys that are significantly lower. So
by the way, I also wonder what the Sixers' desire was to move back, whether it's draft capital or whether it's actual players. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, maybe what he wants is, you had mentioned Terry Eason a bunch of times. Now the Rockets don't have that pick anymore.
Yeah, they moved out of it in the Durant trade, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe what they wanted was a player.
Yeah.
And the pick, and maybe none of those offers were there. Maybe they were just pick trades.
Going into it, I was happy that Daryl had a high asking price. That is good. You shouldn't just punt on it. It should be high. But who knows?
Yeah,
there still could be action going. We're never going to know whatever. But I'm a little bit surprised in a flat draft that those 2 teams got significant stuff, and it makes me think what could the Sixers have gotten if they try to trade down. I also am happy because there were a few rumors about this, that they didn't trade Paul George just to move down, just to get off the contract. I don't care about getting off that contract. I just don't. Now. I think the idea of like, if you think the organization's fucked, then there's no reason to trade down to get the worst pick. More important than getting off of Paul George, if the organization is fucked, is drafting the best player. That is not a reason to trade down just to get off the contract. I don't like that logic at all. I would much rather hold on to Paul George, not sell low on his value, which the Sixers did do with Al Horford a few years ago, and try to resuscitate his value when he's A, seen as a better player that's maybe more healthy, and B, has fewer years left on his deal. Anyway, I'm glad it didn't happen. We'll see what happens with him. I'm not saying I think Paul George will be better than he was last year, but I'm not like dying to get off of him, because if they're fucked, then they're fucked. 2
more things on Edgecombe, or at least from me. One, if you get the chance, watch. I hadn't watched this before tonight. Somebody sent it to me. I watched all of his college YouTube stuff, but he was on the Bahama national team.
Yeah, with Buddy Hield and Eric Gordon.
Yeah, in the Olympic qualifying round. And you see a little bit, feels like he did a little bit more, like it played a little bit more free. And it was those videos that I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's not like he can't dribble the ball. You know what I mean? Like he can, like he looks like a guard when he's dribbling the ball. He just doesn't have a tight, Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey type of handle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to play point guard at the NBA level, but he's capable of playing with the ball in his hands, making the right pass, making some right reads, and keeping the play moving. He's going to, once there's, a ton of shooting around him, I think he will be able to slash really good. The Sixers have never really had a slasher, I've always really admired that term and felt like a slasher that can really elevate. Like, that's sick. And I just think fit-wise, look, I said this early on in the draft season, but I think there is a decent amount of overlap in VJ and Quentin Grimes. VJ is obviously significantly more athletic, and Grimes is probably more like jump shot forward. But that's not to say they can't play together. Like guys that can cut, that move off ball, that can shoot off the catch, that can attack an offensive rebound. Like I think VJ is going to be the kind of player that is like a more athletic Josh Hart at minimum, like, doing some of those little things, those glue things that Derek White does for Boston. And I think he's a really nice fit. The foursome of like Maxey McCain, Grimes, Edgecombe, is it a little smaller than you'd like? For sure. Like, do the Sixers still have a very big hole in like the power forward spot if they're trying to consider like contending this year? I think absolutely. And that's why I was hoping that they would trade back into, Trill Bro Dude mentioned this on Blue Sky, but like trading up into one of these 8 through 13 spots into a spot that they could take Colin Murray Boyles. Now he ended up going 9 to Toronto, but that would have been a perfect fit there. But there's, Nick Clifford is still available. Walter Clayton just went to Utah. Interesting. There's still guys I really want Nick Clifford. If Daryl's awake and he's not at his musical giving lighting notes, I would really like to trade back into the draft and get Nick Clifford. Thank you. But I think like at minimum, VJ is going to be a crazy hard worker. He's going to be very likable with the Maxey McCain duo. Like that's a real culture shift, I think, for a team that has had allegations of dogging it in big moments, in practice and shit, and kind of taking the spirit of Harden and Embiid for a few years and Simmons in different ways of like, oh, we play harder and then we kind of like get mad and throw our hands up. Like Maxey McCain and Edgecombe are not those kinds of guys at all. And I think that maybe Daryl, watching the Sixers fail to get 50-50 balls in the Knicks series, and then watching these playoffs and seeing how fucking hard everybody's playing and how much athleticism and quickness and quick decisiveness and quick decisions and everything were impacting the game. I think that really made a difference. And I mean, Maxey came down for the VJ interview. That matters.
So, by the way, Daryl was asked, he said that, I asked Sixers Adam because I missed this part of the press conference.
Yeah.
He got asked if all three, he said all 3 stars wanted to come to VJ's workout, but only Maxey could make it. So he had mentioned that Embiid and Paul George also wanted to attend. Gave the sense that they were invited to attend, but they could not make it, but they wanted to go. So, by the way.
And he also mentioned that Nick Nurse has been, quote, unbelievable during this draft process.
Well, saved the guy's job, and now he's really just...
Sure.
Just another thing about the guard rotation. I've heard a lot of, like, we have too many guards, 6'4", 6'3", whatever. Like, first of all, you need 4 guards. Like, I got news for you. We have 4 guards, and none of them are 38 years old. Like, if these are the top 4 guards in the rotation, yes, I would love one of them to be 6'5" or 6'6". They're not, but like, you do need 4 guards. One of them's a fucking rookie, so I don't expect he's going to be playing 35 minutes a night. If your your top 3 guard rotation is Maxey and Grimes as the starting 2, then Jared McCain is the 3rd guard, and VJ Edgecombe is the 4th guard. We're fine. It's not like we have 9 guards on the team. Like, we could stand to have a couple of guards on the team that aren't 100 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely play one of Maxey or McCain with both Edgecombe and Grimes. Like, if that becomes a situation, like, they're both long and athletic, and they try hard. You're not like, there's not like a theme park level of you must be this tall to both play on the court at the same time. Like, there's just not much of a difference. I say this all the time. There's not much difference between who's playing the 2 and who's playing the 3. Like, he's a wing. And Edgecombe is, to me, Edgecombe is a wing. Grimes to me is a wing. Is he a big wing? No, but like, he can cover guys. He can get under them. He can be physical with them, and he's going to be a really good defender.
And if our biggest problem is we don't have enough minutes for how good they all are, we'll fucking figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the Sixers were at a point where in this draft where they had to do everything, right? The East is wide open. Halliburton tears his Achilles in a gruesome, horrific fashion. It is very deeply upsetting to everyone who likes basketball. And they're probably going to take a step back next year because of it. And so you look around the East and you're like, who's unbeatable? Who owns the East?
Nobody.
And so the Sixers, and we could talk about Joel with the Daryl quote, which annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And
by the way, it doesn't, when you watch it, it's no better than like looking at it. It's actually worse, I think, when you watch it, to be honest with you.
So when you have Joel on your team, on your roster, you have Paul George on your team, on your roster, you have Maxey, who's all-star level, you have McCain, who had one of the best rookie seasons in the league last year before he got hurt, and a couple other like helpful-ish players if they bounce back, and now you have the number 3 pick that you can put into it. Like, you have to consider, hey, we could make a playoff run. They have to consider the possibility of that. I'm not saying it's definite, but it would be malpractice to punt on next year entirely. But it's also foolish to say next year is our number 1 priority. It should be like the health of this franchise going forward generally. So they kind of had to do all of it, and I think Edgecombe is a really nice fit there. Obviously, I had Trey Johnson 3rd on my board because I saw more star potential there, while also the offensive role playerness of he's a fucking nasty shooter. He's just going to hit everything off the move. It would open up so many things. Edgecombe will do that in a different way and in transition as moving the ball and keep the ball in Maxey and McCain's hands more. But it's a nice blend of Edgecombe can play now. I think he will play right away. There's a chance he starts, depending on what happens going forward.
How's he going to start?
I think if they don't bring back Grimes, if he goes somewhere else, if they feel like Edgecombe is better now and want to bring Grimes off the bench because they want to give Edgecombe more minutes, like, he's the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Like, you kind of, some teams just go like, we drafted him, we're going to start him, like, we're going to roll out the red carpet kind of thing. He's the highest pick that they've had since Fultz, and you saw what they did with Fultz, even when they were contending for the playoffs or doing better than they were now.
Certainly a worse run organization at that point.
Sure.
If you can believe
sure.
it. Yeah.
Sure. But I'm not saying, I just wouldn't rule it out. I'm not penciling him in for a starting spot, but I think it's possible depending on how that offseason shakes out. And I also think, so that's role player now with potential for more, and that's kind of what you're looking for. So I think this pick was a good, I don't want to say 2 timelines. We just talked to Sam Esfandiari, talked about the Warriors. There's some stink on that phrase, but like, Edgecombe will help now. And if he's the guy that they think he is, and staying at 3 and turning down what I have to assume are pretty decent offers, they didn't get bowled over, but the offers had to be something. It wasn't nothing. Then they definitely like think this is the guy that they want, hands down, far and away. We're not moving him for future assets to be more flexible. And he becomes the star that they think he can become, then all of a sudden that changes the future of the organization. It was a horrible season, and to end it with this is really, really big deal. And so it's going to be,
it's over. Season's over.
Season's over. They're going to be a pleasure to watch this. The 3 of them together. We'll see how it grows. You'll make a decision eventually on trading, whatever. But it's exciting. Lots to be excited about. They're going to play hard as shit. He's going to dunk everything. I'm going to love it.
I wanted to get to something that when we talk about Ace Bailey in a second, something that Jeff Teague said about Ace Bailey and Justin Edwards. It kind of, did you see it? It kind of made me smile. Did you see it? Oh, okay. Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. Ksebe is how you spell Ksebe. Ksebe, in case you're Googling it or whatever. And his cell number is 302-864-8643. That's for call and for text. Now, before I get to the Delaware beaches, I want to say, if you need a realtor for anything in any state, in any place, call Ksebe first. He can only help you himself in Delaware and Maryland, but if you're in PA, Jersey, New York, wherever you are, you tell him what you need, what you're trying to do. He'll learn all about you, and he will go through his Rolodex of all the realtors he knows and find you the exact right one. So he can be your first call. If you're trying to find a place at Delaware beaches, and I would, if I'm you, I go for Delaware over Jersey, way lower property tax. Kasebe's your guy. It's hard to find one of those houses. It's hard to, I mean, you can see them, but they go up for sale. There's 25 bids. They're hard to get. You need the right realtor in your corner. Kasebe's been doing it forever. He's out of Long and Foster and Bethany Beach. He knows the ins, the outs, what it's going to go for, help you get the house. If you have given up, if you're like, I wanted to get a short house, I want to rent it out for most of the summer, have them pay my mortgage, I'll go down for a couple weeks, but I give up, I can't find one. Ksebe, let him do the work for you. Again, the phone number, 302-864-8643, whether it's Bethany, Lewis, Rehoboth, Dewey, wherever it is. Maryland, Ocean City, Maryland can help you out there too. He is your guy. Call or text 302-864-8643 or email him at adam@processrealtor.com. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. So Ace Bailey slides to 5.
Congrats. Enjoy Utah, pal.
Yeah,
good maneuvering.
The report was that he wanted to go somewhere in between Atlanta and New York. Utah, I'm not a big geography guy. I guess, vertically it is between Atlanta and New York, but definitely not between Atlanta and New York the way that you would picture it. Jeff Teague, maybe the best NBA podcaster, at least what I see on clips, had this to say about Ace Bailey and our friend Justin Edwards.
Nah, he didn't work out because he ain't get a guarantee. He wanted one from Philly, and they ain't give it to him. So he said,
"That'd be hard though if he go to Philly."
That ain't because you know what? They got a player that's better than him in Philly.
I mean, Philly go there.
No, Edwards, bro.
Edwards
I swear.
Justin Edwards is nice.
Edwards
is nice.
All of them better than him, bro. I swear, Edwards is nice, bro.
He is nice, bro.
He's
the
number
one player in the country too. Yeah,
he is hard, bro. He just got messed up with that Kentucky system. Yeah, bro. He can really hoop.
Yeah, the NBA is different, man. Don't decline the workouts. I know that's annoying, bro, but it's part of the process, bro.
He's traveling for no reason.
My boy, know he about to live a deep elbow.
It's a part of it, right? It's a part of it. Absolutely.
So what do you think? Justin Edwards better than Ace Bailey?
That's insane. That's an insane thing to say. I'm not saying I love Ace Bailey, but Justin Edwards is a nice piece. He's very nice. I'm happy he's here. He's gonna fill a role, but let's not do that. There's just man, you would think that people that played NBA basketball would know more about NBA basketball, and they just pretty across the board don't. They don't. And they're just saying stuff. That's just saying stuff. All stars.
There is he's not as talented, but if Ace Bailey has no desire to stand on the perimeter, hit threes, play defense, and that's it, there is something to knowing what your skills are and playing to those skills.
Sure, it's just a very random thing to say. Yeah. I mean, is Ace Bailey better than a Wawa Hoagie? It's just you're comparing two things that you just don't need to compare. It's why are you bringing Justin Edwards into this? He doesn't need to be brought up into it. He's just doing his thing. He's making the team. He was on a 2-way last year. He finally gets a roster spot. That's very nice. But I don't know. Who cares? Good for Jeff Teague.
Boy, you're in a mood tonight.
I'm this draft. I got action. I'm going for it. VG Edgecombe, quote, Sixers Adam on the Zoom. Asked about his defensive mindset. I hate to see other people score, man. I just hate to see other people score. I just do not like to see other people score. I like that quote.
It's a good quote.
Miami takes Yakushonis or your guy Jakushioni.
Well, look, it looks like Jakushioni if there's no S at the end. Look at it.
I see it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So Daryl did talk. They asked him about Joel Embiid's knee, where he gave the update on Joel Embiid's knee. He said he checked in with him. I'm paraphrasing here. he's doing good. Everything's going according to plan. He checked in with his doctor, and somebody asked him if he would be ready for training camp, and he said something to the effect of, yes, sometime around there.
I hate it.
Now, he did have a knee
They don't-
surgery in April
They don't
that had
fucking
a 6-week recovery time.
Anything.
And just so we're clear, it is June and training camp is in September, which is 3 months from now. It is unfortunate. He can't just say, he looked like he was very carefully picking his words. It is unfortunate that he can't just say, CJ, do you have the actual Embiid quote? Is that what you have up there? Okay, go ahead and play it. Yeah.
Related to that, how is Joe doing? What's the latest on him? We haven't heard since he had surgery in April. And do you think he'll be ready for camp? And also the other guys, Paul George notably, and I guess Tyrese to a lesser
Sure.
extent.
Medical update time. Spoke to Joel today. He's very engaged, attacking rehab, doing everything he can to be out there. He had a meeting with Dr. Glashow this week. All things, to use the NASA term, nominal. Things are going well and expected, and we expect that to continue. So
Ready for camp?
yeah, I mean things are on track to be ready right around there. So
And a quick follow-up.
I mean, look, this sucks. I wish he was just like, yeah, he's doing great. I saw
doing
him
great.
play.
Wow.
He's moving. You'll never see. He lost pounds. He lost a full leg's worth of weight. He's got one leg now, and he's playing great on it. I think that they were burned and surprised last year by how not ready he was.
Yes, as we all were.
Yes, and
Yeah.
how they expected it to be happening and it wasn't happening, and then he eased in and it still wasn't happening, and he was so out of shape or not at game shape, whatever, recovering from the injury, whatever. And I think that they seemed foolish there. I'm giving them, if I'm annoyed by this, but also I think you're annoyed on either direction.
Yes.
If he said Joel looks great
and then
he's our franchise player.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we don't expect him to play 82 games this season and then a full 2 months of playoffs. If he said that, we would all be like, go fuck yourself. And doing it this way where he's like, yeah, around there. When's the season start? We'll find out. Is also annoying. This is just how it's always going to be. And so that's why they had to operate tonight as if there's a possibility he plays and there's a possibility he's, MVP candidate Joel for some stretch of time again, but there's also, you can't bank on that as the most important thing. You have to draft for the future. I'm glad. That's why I was trading out of 3 entirely never made sense to me.
Trading for a player and only a player.
Yeah, just trading out
Okay.
of the draft entirely.
Out of
Just
the
never-
draft entirely.
Yeah, this was such a valuable gift from heaven after such a disastrous season, and to keep the pick when they weren't supposed to. Thanks to us having a lottery party again, and Yabusele not wanting to have the worst interview of all time, which it would have been if they didn't keep the pick. But
instead, we had a good interview.
we
with
had a great
Yabusele.
interview, had a good time, and we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just there's no version of them going no, we're gonna double down on the present timeline. That would have been crazy. That would have been so crazy. I think you could have gotten somebody just as upside or just as helpful 6, 7, 8, depending on how they could have been. I would have loved to trade into the draft next season because they have no picks in next year's draft. But whatever. I like VJ Edgecombe. I think he's gonna be really helpful now. I think he's gonna be really helpful in the future. We'll see about his star upside, but I think this is ultimately a really, really good night for the team now and in the future.
Yeah, it feels good. I had my first true moment. I'm not counting the lottery as optimism. That was joy, not optimism. I wasn't necessarily optimistic.
Yeah.
When they picked Edgecombe and it became clear that they were just going to keep him at least, I was like, this is fun. We got a new guy who's good and plays hard and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's also when's the last time they've had somebody that is actually functionally athletic? I would say, you could name
KJ Martin.
Yeah, but and he had some nice, interesting, kind of funky ball handling stuff, but he couldn't do stuff with it.
Oh,
He was
functionally athletic, not just athletic.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, Zaire was crazy athletic, but didn't know how to use it.
And
Jaden was super
never
athletic,
played.
but was a football player.
Yeah, not that skilled.
No, Ricky Council, very athletic, but
Not functional.
clumsily chaotic.
Yeah.
Functional in his own weird way, but not in this kind. Not just like smooth, beautiful athlete.
Yeah.
And VJ is like
Oubre has some of that, I would say. Maybe the closest.
I mean, if we had gotten him when he was younger, let's say, but to have somebody in their physical athletic prime that we're going to have VJ through, hopefully 9 years, because when you draft somebody this high, you imagine like they're going to be here for 9 years. He's going to be 28 by the time his second contract ends. So I'm excited for it. I'm really excited. I think it's when you have, you're not going to it's not a buffet, people like to say. I think Daryl said it before. But like, if you wanted to pair Maxey and or McCain with the kind of who do you play opposite this guy with, you would want somebody who is a defensive pest and also athletic enough to run the floor with them and create advantages in those kinds of ways and steal possessions, all that stuff. So I think it's a nice pairing with them. I don't know altogether if the four of them, if you include Grimes in it, are going to be like, yeah, these four guys are going to stay together for the next 3 years. I would imagine somebody gets moved eventually, but you don't have to rush that, and we'll see how it looks.
I'm a lot more excited starting with that than Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson is the other guards. It was funny that the top four, I saw a lot of mocks. I think KOC's mock was like this today. The top four, Knipple going to Charlotte. Ace Bailey going to Utah was a little bit surprising. I thought he would just wind up in Washington, where he was trying to get to. I'm trying to figure out if anything else. Igor Demon, did you see the Brooklyn Nets guy and the crowd going, "Who the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
It was quite a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. This is why like there's the group think of people talking about the draft, and then all of a sudden the Nets at 8 go like, we think Igor Demon is the guy, and we're going to take him right here. We're not going to move back. We're not going to get cute. We're just going to take him right now. I think it's high, but okay, cool. They get Nolan Traore also, who should be a nice.
If they think he's the right guy, then just fucking take him.
Of course. Yeah, but then you look back later and you go like, why the fuck did they draft? Why did the Clippers had a very funky draft years ago when they draft Shea. They drafted Jerome Robinson, like I think it was 1 or 2 picks later. And it was an awful pick. And you draft Shea, and that's like one of the better picks of this generation. It's weird. The draft is weird. You make wrong choices, you make good choices. You put them right next to each other.
Did you see Colin? Now, Colin Murray Boyles to the Raptors. That feels like a very Raptors-y player. But did you see his reaction to it?
I don't put stock into that. I think he's just so by the moment being. He's a really good kid. I don't think he's like I would hate to go to Toronto. That doesn't really jive with me. I would say he is like, holy shit, I'm going to the NBA.
Okay.
Fuck, like that kind of thing. His mom was like smiling and happy about it. I don't think he's pissed off.
Malawach's reaction was awesome.
Yeah.
I love when guys get really excited, tears running down his face as he's on the stage, just like of joy that he did it was a nice. It's very strange for him to go to Phoenix, and then Phoenix also trade for the kid from Charlotte.
They trade for Mark Williams like within 30 seconds. That those things happen.
Drafting a center
at the same time, and they also still have Nick Richards, who was Mark Williams' teammate in Charlotte. But Charlotte just really wanted to get rid of Mark Williams. They tried to do it to the Lakers earlier last season in the Dalton Connect deal. No idea what's going on in Phoenix. End of sentence. But Malawach is interesting. He should be a nice rim rolling guy. He should do what Derek Lively does. Fine. But I don't know why you do that and draft Mark Williams. I guess they're going to bring Malawach along slowly is the optimistic idea. And they go, okay, we'll have Mark Williams for now. And when Mark Williams' body fails him, and assuming that's why Charlotte doesn't like him, then Malawach will be ready. Kind of weird that they both played basketball at Duke and are now in Phoenix together. But I don't know. Maybe it'll work.
Maybe. Anything else? I wanted to get to the other things that have happened in the NBA this week because it's pretty interesting. Anything else draft-wise that caught your eye tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls take Noah Sangay. I think that's a very Bullsy pick. Like, they're just kind of determined to have athletic guys who do a bunch of interesting stuff, but don't shoot.
Well, I love the kid they got last year. What was his name?
Buzelis.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, they're an interesting bunch of pieces, but it's hard to imagine them ever putting it together. I mean, the Spurs taking Carter Bryant when he just falls to them, I think is a really nice pick.
Ha ha ha! The rich get richer.
Iguodala, who also went to Arizona, obviously greets him right before he goes on stage. I think that was a nice moment. Not like 2 6'8" wings. Really nice. That's the template for Carter Bryant, right? Is do that. Thomas Sorber going to the Thunder is just a really nice pick for them. He's going to take over for Hartenstein in a few years once that contract expires, or they have to move on from him.
It actually, maybe I was listening to Zach Lowe, was just talking about their salary issues in a couple years, and it actually Hartenstein's final year at $31 million seems like it could be the contract to go. If so, then Sorber being ready at that point would be big for them, and I would imagine at that point, what's his name can play more center minutes. You would hope he fills out a little bit and can do that as well. Chet, yeah.
They're just a really smart organization. They have another pick coming up in a little bit. They're going to be good for a long time. I've over the last years I've said everyone just assumes the Bucks are going to be back next year. Everyone assumes the Nuggets are going to be back next year. Everyone assumes the Celtics are going to be back next year. It's just hard to repeat. It's hard to bank that it's going to happen again because of how fucking hard it is in these playoffs that are 2 months long and take such a physical toll on your body. That being said, the Thunder are really young and really good and have a ton of fucking guys and more capital that they can keep moving on from. So it is hard to imagine that they're not somewhat back over the next few years with multiple finals appearances because of how good those guys are. And I think it's fun and interesting that the last 2 picks, at least that I have here, the Yakushonis of Illinois goes to the Heat, and then his college teammate Will Riley just goes to the Wiz. Interesting draft for the Wiz. Trey Johnson and Will Riley is an interesting little 1-2. Both guys who like to
I don't remember watching Will Riley.
So he's really skinny, freshman in Illinois, kind of took over for Yakushonis as the physicality of the Big Ten got to him over the course of the season. And Yakushonis' numbers went down, his turnovers went way up, and Will Riley just is a little bit longer and can get to his spots and get off tough shots a little bit more. And that's the point. Now we're kind of going back to VJ for a second, but that's the point about VJ is usually you see freshmen come in and go, well, I guess there's 2 versions of it. One, they can go, okay, I'm beating up on bad teams, but then when good teams know how to game plan against me, then you see them struggle a little bit more. You see them, you can't just do the same things. You can't just bully your way through weaker guys like you did in high school, whatever. VJ is interesting because his numbers improved over the course of the season, playing in a really difficult league in the Big 12. His 3-point numbers went up. His assist numbers went up. He played against good teams late in the season against Duke, against Houston, into the conference tournament and then the big dance. And he played well. He's a good player. He shows up in big games. I'm really excited to see him play alongside a bunch of shooters and guys that can command the attention so that VJ can either hit open threes or cut middle. I love those. He loves that weak side cut to the middle when the defense is rotated over to have to cover, whether it's a Maxey Joel pick and roll or whether it's, if PG's doing something and the defense has their head turned and all of a sudden VJ's there and he's too fast and big for you. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I wonder what he looks like in summer league. Skill set wise, it seems like a guy that they'll give him every opportunity to make mistakes with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and so
you'll probably see some, that doesn't look good. He dribbles it off his foot. He's trying to do too much, whatever. But you're also going to see him lock somebody the fuck up and take it and go the other way with it and throw down a pretty sick dunk, and that's going to be very fun. It's gonna be fun. I mean, it's nice to have another guy to feel really excited about. I'm glad they got the pick, man. This would have been so bad.
It would have been bad. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Mike, this is my favorite Draftkings. Did you know, Mike, it is UFC International Fight Week.
Here we go.
All right. And there is a vacancy.
I almost forgot it was the draft because I was so ready for UFC International Fight Week.
Yes,
I'm
the
always saying
lightweight
that.
title is vacant at UFC 317, and DraftKings Sportsbook is the sports betting partner of the UFC. So I know you already know this, but Ilya Topuria will collide with Charles Oliveira for the vacant belt. Plus, Alexander Petonia puts his flyweight title on the line against Kai Kara-France in a high-stakes co-main event.
Petonia,
Yep.
Scarlet Petonia.
Yep. What do you think of this? What do you think of Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith? Nico Price plus 1,100.
I'll go Nico Case.
It's Price,
I'll
but
go
okay.
Nico Case. Beautiful songs.
And what about Vivian Araujo against Tracy Cortez? Cortez is minus 250. Araujo is plus 205.
I'm going to go Rafael Araujo, drafted by the Raptors a few years ago. Versatile game. I think that's going to be interesting. Give me Rafael.
And the Topuria versus Oliveira, Topuria is a minus 455 favorite. Look, you know all this stuff. You got to bet it at DraftKings. If you're new to DraftKings Sportsbook, you bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets instantly with code RTRS. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code RTRS. That is code RTRS for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. So a couple of
Drake Powell just went off the board. Went to Brooklyn. Was a possible target at 35, but looked less and less likely as guys started going back to school.
Leaving. Yeah.
So he goes 22 to the Hawks, but traded to Brooklyn. So we'll see. 13 picks away. I do wonder if Daryl pops back in here for if there's a trade up for a guy that he likes.
Boy, is this you wishing or thinking?
Wishing. I mean, Nick Clifford's
Yeah.
still on the board. Danny Wolf's still on the board. Rasheer Fleming, St. Joe's still on the board. Jace Richardson's still on the board, which is quite interesting. I was expecting somebody to go with him first. Not a guy that I would like the Sixers to target. But somebody could. Asa Newell and Georgia still on the board. Liam McNeely, UConn still on the board. Kalkbrenner, who would be a nice stretch five-ish type guy. There's guys to be had, but it's like once you it's a little bit like musical chairs. Like once the music stops and you're like, you're up, and it's like all the guys that I want are gone. We just missed him by like 1 or 2 picks. So I would like Daryl to go get a guy that he believes in, because I don't have the patience for 35 to be just somebody that we don't use. I'm counting on 35 to be like useful rotation player. Maybe not this year, but like the way that Justin Edwards honestly was, whereas like he played a little bit last year. Yeah, Bono. I mean, like in a perfect world, neither of those guys play meaningful minutes last year, and because they were so bad, they did. But I think get your feet wet this year, and then all of a sudden next season you're in the rotation, I think is a reasonable hope for if you draft well. If you don't draft well, then obviously no. But if you do, then there's going to be guys to be had here.
A couple of things that happened this week. The Celtics, to save $200 million on their luxury tax bill, trade Drew Holiday to Portland to Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. I thought the reaction to that trade was very strange. You know that I am a big Anthony Simons guy.
Sure.
But when they traded Holiday for Simons, everybody was like, oh, the Celtics do it again. And I was just very confused by it. Like,
Yeah.
Simons is a fun small guard. He's probably a 6-man, you know. He's a good player, but it felt like a very strange reaction to me.
Well, I don't think that the reaction was because they're excited about like Simons's fit in Boston. I think they're like, oh, they got off of Drew's contract to save money, and then maybe they can rehabilitate Simons's image in half a season and then trade him because he's expiring. I think that's very like ownership coded reactions. Like, why do you care? Drew Holiday's still a really, really good player.
Yeah, Drew Holiday's good. Getting off of Drew Holiday's contract is not.
I agree. I mean, he's not going to play as many games. He's not going to play 82 anymore. But he's 32.4 this year, 34.8 next year, and then a player option for 37.2 in his final year. Those are fine numbers. Like as the salary cap keeps going up, he's like a helpful veteran piece. Now I don't know, is Portland in a position where they should be going like, yeah, we're ready to make the Drew Holiday that we're one piece away type thing. But I think there's value to going if they think that they have between Scoot and Shaden Sharp, and cling in. Like we have a good young core. Simons doesn't play any defense. We're ready to, Denny Avdia. We're ready to play competitive basketball again, which they did for the back half of last season. They played pretty good, and Kamara, obviously, who I love. So I'm excited to see what it looks like there. I think they could be a play-in team next year, but for Boston, it's like they get rid of Drew and then they get rid of Porzingis in another salary dump. Sad to see George Niang going to Boston. That's a little bit of an unpleasant experience because we like George and we don't like Boston. But there's reports that Jaylen Brown and Derek White are on the table, and that's
what I was going to say. Like we've talked about the second apron stuff before, but like, how sad is it? And look, I don't like the Celtics. This is not like a pro Celtics thing, but they won the title 2 years ago. They won 60 games last year, and here they are, like essentially dismantling the team. And I know Tatum is hurt this year, but to then get rid of Porzingis, get rid of Holiday, get rid of potentially Derek White or Jaylen Brown, all basically because of the second apron, and not be able to keep the team together. I don't know. It feels like sort of depressing, isn't it?
It would be so depressing if it wasn't the Celtics.
If it wasn't the Celtics.
If it wasn't the Celtics, it'd be depressing. But I do think that the league and the Players Association bungled this very much. It seems like everybody's upset about the second apron. Who likes it? Why is it there? Why is it so prohibitive? Don't you want teams to try to stay together to win? I'm not really sure, but happy to see the Celtics be losing. If they want to trade Derek White, I'm happy to watch him leave. He's too rootable of a guy to be in that dog shit, evil empire. Get him out of there. Fuck him. Hate him. That leprechaun can suck my dick. And I hope they have a miserable season. It's weird.
Pelicans trade. Essentially, this is the Wizards getting off of Jordan Poole's contract, but
slop for slop.
Yeah, Pelicans trade McCollum and Olynyk for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey. But I guess the McCollum trade is shorter than the Olynyk the McCollum contract is shorter than the Poole contract.
Yeah.
So that is and Kyrie signs a 3-year extension with the Mavericks, and Daniel Gafford also signs an extension with the Mavericks. But it looks like he could be a trade candidate, Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Remember when Terrence Mann was like,
the thing that they wouldn't give up.
No way they're trading Terrence Mann.
Yeah, yes.
Brian Toporek of Liberty Ballers makes the point that by acquiring Terrence Mann, this is Brooklyn, by acquiring him in the 3-teamer that that Porzingis was sent to Atlanta for, Brooklyn now has less money to throw at Quentin Grimes in an offer sheet.
Yes. Sixers Adam, I think, said that earlier today. Yeah.
Yeah. So
so the most that the most he can get anywhere is the taxpayer mid-level. It's like $15 million.
Yeah. And when the dust settles, I consider myself a Quentin Grimes guy, and I need to look at it. There's a lot of moving parts happening right now, but when the dust settles, if there is a sign and trade Quentin Grimes for a power forward that fits a little better, that's still young and growing, there is rationale. It would obviously depend on who the player is, but there is definite rationale to, we are selling Quentin Grimes at the height of his value right now. He had a great season last year, but there is some validity to what your concern is, and what also Sam Esfandiari mentioned with the Warriors last pod, of like, how real is it? How much is he going to be? How good is he going to be when he touches the ball 80% less in an NBA game?
Yeah.
And just fit wise, it'd be nice to have a power forward, especially if Yabusele leaves. They really need that. And with Joel, whether he's healthy or not, like, they really need a 4 that can rebound, that can give them some pop there. Georgia product Asa Newell goes to the Hawks, stays home in his home state of Georgia.
Well, we will go now, and if the Sixers trade back into the first round, we will come right back to do a little bonus pod about whoever they got. Otherwise, tomorrow night, who is joining tomorrow night? Is the Danny
We're going to talk to I don't know if we've asked him yet, but we'll get Ollinger on here.
Well, you got to ask him.
We got to ask him.
Well, yeah.
What else is he doing?
His sister's in town, and she might have been late. I told him you were going to get in touch with him, and you still haven't.
We'll talk. He's watching the draft. Neek goes to the Kings at 24.
Sorry.
Just playing a little music there.
Yeah.
I love the draft, man. A lot of action. We'll see when the dust settles. So the Thunder traded 24 to the Kings to take Nick Clifford. That's a very Kings player.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Draft's still happening.
Draft's still happening. If the Sixers trade back in, we'll be back. Otherwise, we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, like face.